Welcome back once again to Leonard Brothers Game. I'm David,
I'm John.
and this is still more Skyrim. But in the meantime, we're going to continue our discussion from last time. More of video game-based movies and movie-based video games.
Remember when Game Grumps did the Dennis Menace video game?
Oh yeah, Dennis Menace. Kind of lame, but whatever. Most of those were. I mean,
Yeah, but they had that cool rap though.
yeah, cool rap. Yeah. The notorious E.T. game on the 2600 obviously was one that was one of the harbingers of death, near death for the video game industry. And it's just, ever since then, even before that, they had the Superman 64, other games that are just downright awful, and it's not their fault, I don't think. I mean, is the developers themselves have certain guidelines and strict limits created by an industry that doesn't know how to, it's the same fault for both ways. A movie comes to Activision, a movie company comes to Activision or some other company saying, it's like, we want you to make a game for us, and we want you to do these things with our license, and then the game company says, that doesn't make sense, or that really wouldn't work. It's like, well, do it anyways, or you lose the license. You make money off of our licenses, right? Like, well, yeah, I suppose. You want to make, and also there's a lot of times there's just deadlines too.
That's what I was gonna say.
Deadline, most of the part, there's
thing is
they want to make it
up by
in
some
time for the DVD release or for the film's release or for the
Christmas
Christmas or whatever. Certain deadlines that then make the whole game fall apart, lose content, be buggy because they don't have time to test it or work on it properly, and it's very similar for when a movie company buys the rights to a game. Like Super Mario Brothers. You defend the Super Mario Brothers movie constantly because what did they have to work with? And these people didn't understand how the game worked. And even then, there really wasn't much of a story to make a game out of Super Mario Brothers, so they made one up. And a lot of people didn't like it.
Well, same thing for I mean, it's not a gaming. I'm sorry, but Aeon Flux.
Mm-hmm.
It was an anime.
Oh, that's fine,
and
yeah.
it turned into a live action movie.
It was terrible.
A lot of people didn't like it because
it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same style. I mean, literally every episode. Well, the thing with the cartoon though was that Aeon Flux died in every episode.
basically.
They
Not
couldn't
literally
have
everyone.
well, not literally, but almost everyone, and they couldn't really have a film based around that. That would be kind of disappointing.
Well, they kind of did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was reincarnations and stuff like that. I think.
Yeah, and they tried to incorporate as much as they could, I suppose, of the story, but in general, it was disappointing.
Again, it was the point of how much of a story could she make?
Yeah, there's really no dialogue. There's no, she's just running around places and supposedly has some kind of mission, but you have no context to what it is or who these people are or anything. It's just cool animation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's also films like Prince of Persia, which did fairly well for Disney, trying to buy that license, but people complain Jake Gyllenhaal, or however you pronounce his last name, he's not Arabic, He's not the proper race or nationality or anything, that the Prince of Persia should be. I still have a film.
He's not Persian.
He's not Persian. He's not Persian. Yeah.
He's a white guy.
Yeah. It doesn't work. At least in that regard, but I still thought for what they did with it, it was okay. And I know they wanted to make a series out of it, like several movies, just like they wanted to make a series out of John Carter, but that was even worse. Oh, poor John. Be glad you didn't watch that movie. Embarrassment. I know we had mentioned the Asylum earlier. And I noticed on one of the more recent Asylum films, Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies, because if you thought Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was a bad idea, Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies is even worse. Horrible thing. But anyways, they had a trailer in there that said that the Asylum has been around for the past 15 years as a company, making movies, over 100 films, and that they're not done yet. I'm like, please, after films like Sharknado, or Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus, or any number of other bad films. They had a Sherlock Holmes parody that was just awful, just or Transmorphers, or Atlantic Rim. cheap cash grabs. And if you go to a rental store, not that those things exist anymore. Okay, Redbox. If you go to a Redbox and you scroll through their list of movies and you see the good film, and then you see its bad equivalent, and you're like, well, let's try this thing out. It's like, no, you don't want to.
I don't know where I'm going now.
You're lost? Oh,
Yeah.
dear, dead ends. That's no good. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't picked up other franchises. I figure, like, Lord of the Rings would be big enough that they could make, like, a movie or two, or, like, The Hobbit, you know? Capitalize on the success of those kind of franchises. I mean, I've seen other series online, you know, like the, I forget what it's called. Oh, yeah, Standard Action. I think you've seen a few episodes of that, right? You know?
Yeah, I actually donated $25 to their Kickstarter.
Really high quality YouTube videos of you know, people who have
their backyard.
Oh yeah, their backyard is just a huge forest that looks perfect for a D&D setting, and all those costumes that they build and their characters and the wacky slapstick and comedy and sketching and artwork and just beautiful stuff. Really, really impressive. And you'd figure if they can do that on like a next to nothing budget, not that I'm asking for Asylum to do any more movies, but you know, it's one genre I don't think that they've gotten into yet, that they've ruined. It's like, you know, if you're gonna just ruin stuff, why don't you find, you know, more things that you haven't even touched yet, and to see how bad they can possibly be. There's like that Area 52 film that had this horrible alien monster thing. Because it's Area 52, right? You know, it's got to have some terrible creature that, you know, oh, we've got to contain, or it's a friendly alien. You know, we're you know, working together with this thing until it backfires and, you know, tries to kill everybody. Because that's what aliens do. Yeah, evil, of course. Like you do.
What was that?
Of course, another issue with, you know, after Disney having bought out Star Wars is that they have re-released all of the you know, both trilogies in DVD and Blu-ray again. And you know, they at least these sets, at least the Blu-ray sets, have the original theatrical release. But as one of our coworkers bought this set and told us, the original theatrical release is on DVD still, just like the previous set. It hasn't been like remastered or put onto Blu-ray on like the special edition versions with all the CG effects and bonus scenes and things that George Lucas thought, oh yeah, we really need to have these in the classic films that we really enjoyed, you know, growing up. At least I think we can say growing up is good enough, even though it's obviously in the 70s and 80s, but you know, having like them being re-released in 96 and 97 for the theaters, we grew up having seen Star Wars in theaters, and I think that's kind of a bonus, at least to see the original trilogy that way. Whereas I don't think that's really going to happen again for any further generations. There's going to be more new movies. There's no reason to re-release the original trilogy any further in theaters. So
Yet again,
yeah. So we're lucky to have been born and lived through
yes,
the
you're
time.
lucky to have been born.
Lucky to have been born, yeah.
You're right.
Oh, so lucky. Yeah. But in that time frame, I think in general, in terms of, you know, technology and stuff, we were in, you know, the generation that's just the right time frame to be able to appreciate something as far back as the Atari 2600, and say, like, you know, these kids these days, you know, they think of their PlayStation 3s as their first console. It's like, no, we had an Atari 800 with River Raid and we liked it. Back in my day.
Indeed, we are young enough to be able to understand and appreciate the new technologies, but old enough to understand where they came from and what came first.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we were always kind of behind the times, technology-wise. When, like, the PlayStation and Saturn and N64 came out, we were still using the 32X and the Sega CD. because
Well, we weren't rich. Come
no,
on.
I'm not saying I mean, we had friends who had like the N64 when we played them, but in general, it allowed us to be able to appreciate the simpler things. Even though it was like Sewer Shark and Night Trap. I don't know why Dad got us Night Trap.
Nah, it's a terrible game.
Yeah, absolutely awful. Don't play that game. It's not really a game. It's just more of a cutscenes where you push a button and maybe something happens, maybe it doesn't. Anyways, until next time, happy gaming.